Boom, kia ora, welcome, episode 4 of the Dan Hooker podcast. Now, this is going to be an especially smug podcast because of the weekend. Nah, I'll try not to, I doubt if you're a Paulo Costa fan, you watch the show too much anyway. But incredible results. I'm going to work back from the weekend talking about the UFC, talking about all of the boys' fights, and my mentorship. So I've got a big announcement to make. I'll be announcing the winners of my mentorship. But first, I'm going to get into the UFC, and we're going to start from the top. Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. What can you say? Too much weights, not enough speed work. Crushed him. That pretty much went how I thought it was going to play out. Just systematically broke him down, and Israel's one of the best at the world at that, just picking his shots like I was saying, and he just systematically broke him down, just took his time and popped all his tires. It's just incredible for me, not incredible, but just strange for me to watching that was Paulo Costa's game plan, to get hit and taunt his way into Israel Adesanya making a mistake. That's a terrible game plan. Assuming that your opponent is going to make a mistake, or waiting for your opponent to make a mistake, is a very silly way to approach a fight. Broke him down, especially with the leg kicks. Israel froze him with the feints. Broke him down with the leg kicks. Broke him down. And then once, as I was saying in the leader, once Paulo Costa starts going backwards, it's going to be very clear. It's going to be very clear, because his only chance of winning was to force Israel back against the cage and get his hands on him and start lighting him up with the boxing, which never came to fruition. It was Israel Adesanya from the very first round. Anyway, I actually about 20 seconds before the finish, I just went over, poured myself a glass of water and was drinking. It was systematic at that end. When Israel goes into that flow state, once he's popped all the tires on the car and starts letting go and just touching and just accumulating damage, that finish was inevitable. 20, 30 seconds before that finish happened, I just sat back down in my chair and just waited for the finish, because it was no longer nervous, no longer worried. The tires were popped and it was time to get him out of there. So incredible work from Israel Adesanya, really cementing himself as one of the pound for pound best in the world. And I can't wait to see who his next opponent is. He called Cannonier. I know I've spoken to him about Cannonier, and he's got a lot of respect for Cannonier if he can get the job done against Robert Whittaker, which is an incredibly tall ask in itself, and especially when Israel said not just win, but win impressively, and we can put that fight together. It's a very tall ask against Rob, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes. Jan Blachowicz versus Dominic Reyes. Dom started so well. I was very impressed with his positional awareness. Like he's subtle. You go back and watch his footwork. Go back and watch the subtle positioning changes he made throughout that fight. They were quite incredible to watch. I thought he had the far better positioning, but just the power on Jan. The mistake Reyes made was getting sucked into those exchanges with the more powerful opponent. He had 25 minutes. He had so much more time to work, so much more time. The subtle positioning doesn't take effect until, you can systematically break someone down with that. It's just a slight advantage that just takes time to accumulate. But he got sucked into exchanges with the Jan, and Jan got the better of him. It was just a short left hook, which put him away. Short left hook to the side of the ear, but that's behind the ears where your equilibrium is controlled. So he gave him a little tap there. That's all she wrote. Fight of the night, Brandon Royval versus Kai Kara-France. Very proud of Kai in that fight. That was an incredible fight. That first round was wild. Kai hit him with his best punch right on the chin, dropped him down, followed in, ran into a spinning elbow. So it was just an incredible back and forth war. Ever since then, Kai's letting his hands go. Brandon showed, well, for one thing, one heck of a chin, but to pick himself back up after that, the way he was attacking with submissions, threw up go-go plata, transitioned to a omoplata. Then he was transitioning to the legs after that, looking for leg lace, looking for leg locks. It was just incredible to watch. That was a great flyweight fight to watch. And I'll keep my eyes on Brandon. It was funny how honest he was in the post fight after it. He wasn't like, I had it all along. He says, man, he had the power advantage. So he said, I pulled that one out of my ass, which is you don't see many people admit to that after they fight. So it was pretty cool to see just raw honesty. I know he's one of Mark Montoya's boys at Factory X, so it's that's the kind of style, guys like Anthony Smith. They're a cool bunch of cats down in Denver. I didn't watch that one. I was getting beers. Tawudu. This one's a good one. Tahugov versus Tawudu. That's a good one. Now, Tahugov missed by 5 pounds as well, which is that's not a small miss by any means. Tawudu picks up the split decision. Tahugov kind of took his foot off the pedal in the last round. Just got on his bike in the last round, and that's just something you can't do when you've had 2 very close rounds. He needed to put it on him, and he kind of just chose to get on his bike and do the Muhammad Ali bounce around the cage for a bit. Very strange that to see Khabib in his corner, because I remember seeing Khabib, just as an observation, I remember seeing Khabib was at another show. I think it was another UAE Warriors. Khabib was at another show less than 48 hours before being in the corner at... I'm not snitching on anybody. I'm just saying from where I'm sitting and observing. He's at one show in Abu Dhabi, and then less than 48 hours later, which is the 48-hour mandatory quarantine, he's standing cage side cornering a fighter at a UFC. We getting some special treatment, or what's the story? What's the story, UFC? Main prelim, Brad Quake Riddell, Alex Da Silva. What composure from Brad. Like he was saying, he's very early. He doesn't have that many MMA fights. He's got less than 10 professional MMA fights. To be, held down like that, from such a good grappler, and to lose that first round, but to stay composed, stick to the game plan, get back to his feet, avoid those grappling exchanges, make those developments in that short space of time between round 2 and round 3, come out in the second and third round and just pick his boy apart. Pick him apart, not only on the feet, but with the wrestling as well. Brad would continue to shoot single leg, double leg, force him up against the cage. Incredibly well-rounded display from Brad Riddell. Moves to 3-0 in the UFC's lightweight division, so he's moving up those ranks fairly quickly, and we all know Brad, he'll want to turn around as soon as he can. I bet he'll want to get on the same card as me before the end of the year, so that'll be good to take a few of the boys with me. Whoever's healthy, take back over to the States with me, so I'm not flying over by myself. That'll be great. I'll put that out there. But incredible performance from Brad. UFC is such a deep division, so it'll be interesting to see whether he'll get a highly touted fighter or a ranked fighter after this. But I'm excited to see that. Jake Matthews, very composed, breaking down Diego Sanchez. Diego, he came out, tried to just pretty much run at Jake from the start, but you could see Jake took him very seriously. Took Diego Sanchez, gave him the respect he deserves, because he still does deserve a lot of respect. He's not an easy guy to finish. He's not an easy guy to get out of there. And Jake almost did it. Jake was trying to do it. He would definitely had the first 2.5 rounds in the bank, but he didn't sit on his lead. He got on top of him, tried to let some bombs go, and tried to finish the fight, tried to get him out of there. So it was a great performance from Jake Matthews. That's 3 fights in a row for him. So, man, fingers crossed he gets a ranked opponent, which he was calling for after the bout. Down the card, old Ludovic Klein, versus Shane Young. What can I say about this? Well, it's strange. You take the fight, you accept the fight, you're agreeing to make weight. You're agreeing to, now this is Israel. That's what Israel was hitting Dana White up in the cage after, saying that 30% is not enough. These guys are, well, it's not that he missed weight. It's when you miss weight, there's a window to make the weight. The UFC gives you, so you first step on the scales. Now you have 2 hours to go away, continue to cut, and then to come back before the end of that window and try to make the weight. Now, that's a tall ask for 5 pounds. Ludovic Klein missed the weight by 5 pounds, which is 2.5 kilos. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of weight to miss by. That's a lot of weight when someone's sweating. When you sweat 2.5 kilos out of your body, you respect how much weight that is, because that 2.5 kilos can take hours to get off. That's hours of sitting in a sauna. That's hours of sitting in a hot bath to lose that weight. So it really does drain you for the next day. And for like Ludovic Klein, who missed the weight, had the 2 hour window and didn't even attempt. He didn't even go away in that 2 hour window, sit in it's Abu Dhabi, my friend. Go outside. That's all you had to do. Go outside and sit in the heat for 2.5 hours, come back and be 4 pounds over, maybe not 5 pounds, but at least show the heart to attempt, the willingness to attempt to make the weight. That's the biggest piss off in the world, when a guy comes in happy, smiling, flexing, makes the weight, stands on the scales, or comes in over, and then doesn't even attempt. He didn't look drained at the weigh-in to me. He didn't look like he was dragging his toes. He didn't look to me like he had attempted to cut the weight. It looked to me like he knew he wasn't going to make the weight, came in over the weight, just looking to exploit that kind of advantage. So Ludovic Klein can kiss my ass at the end of the day. Kamer takes his first loss, 6 wins on the trot. Takes his first loss to William Knight. So that was William Knight's UFC debut. I think he had a big win on the Contender Series. Got this opportunity in the UFC. And really impressed me. William Knight was the boy built like a triangle. He had a huge upper body. He looked incredibly strong. So great performance from him. Espino, he was with the scarf hold submission. That was very strange. It's not something you really see. Who was it? Heavyweight. Russian guy. Why is his name slipping my mind? He gets the scarf hold a lot. He's saying it to me, but he's in a glass-proof window. I can't. There's no way. We'll move on. Espino's not that important anyway. Oh, sorry, Espino. I doubt he watches Dan Hooker podcast. We'll be all right. One more fight. Daniel Marquez. We'll move on. Can't say I paid that close of attention to that one. So, the main announcement I have, now that we've got through that UFC, those UFC shenanigans from this weekend, I'll get into Saturday. So Saturday, I had the Hangman Mentorship Programme. I had the second series of the mentorship program. I had about 115, 120 applicants. At the end of the day, I responded to about 70. I responded to, and then we had, I would say, about 60 show up on the day. So it was on Saturday. The first test can follow simple instructions. So if you got accepted to the tryout, it would have just been a very simple email, 7 a.m., 26, Saturday the 26th, Combat Academy, 17 Calmere Street. So the address to the gym, the day you need to be there, and the time you need to be there. And if you know me or you have trained with me, if you're not early, you're late. So at 6:58, we all left the gym. I got everyone to throw their stuff inside the gym or throw it in their car. I locked the gym and we took off running. And we went running for a couple of hours. We went to the Ellerslie Rugby League Club, which is just around the corner from me, where we did some diamond sprinting. So I had them sprinting all around the rugby field. There was A few boys faded off then. Then we took off to another park in Ellerslie, and this is just me with them. So the group of 60 people going running with me, and the point of that was just I wanted to see who was there to compete on the day, who wanted to win, who has that competitive spirit. Because you can have all the skills in the world, you can have all the fitness in the world, but it's a willingness to compete that gets you through a lot of fights. That gets you through a tough situation. What happens in a fight when you get tired? Do you still want to compete? What happens when you're getting outskilled and you're exhausted? Are you just going to quit? Are you just going to fade away? I'm looking for guys that want to win and turned up to compete. So it was about 2 hours of running them. I had them bear crawling, full football grounds, probably 10 times they would have bear crawled that full football ground. Endless amount of sprints, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Had people throwing up, people dropping out. It was quite a thing to see. What I never wanted to send anyone home, so I never wanted to say, no, you didn't make it, you're cut. If you wanted to finish the day, or say you fell off at one part of the day, but you wanted to join back in and continue on for your accomplishment, that's fine. That's bending. That's not breaking. If you packed your stuff up, got in your car and drove home, that's breaking, and that's a mentality which is not for this particular sport. You can bend, but don't break. If you were physically exhausted and you couldn't continue, and people would sit out for 5-10 minutes, but then you see themselves pick themselves back up, get back in and continue pushing. That to me is like very impressive. I spoke with one of the boys after. He said that he was and he was tired early on. He was tired at the very first park we got to, and he was telling me he got off the couch 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, he was just on the couch doing his thing. He saw the mentorship, and he said, man, I want that. I want to do that. He got off the couch at 165 kilos, started training 3 weeks ago, came down to the gym and finished the day. So he was tired at the first park. And we jogged off to the next part, and I thought we'd lost them all together, but he'd found us somehow at the second park. I didn't tell him where we were going. Found us at the second park, jogged back to the gym, did every session throughout the day. It was an 8.5-hour day of training. We got back to the gym. We did physical testing, so the max push-ups, max pull-ups, had 60 kilos on the bar, as many reps as you could possibly do. Brad Roach, who's a yoga instructor at my gym, mobility specialist, he took them through the mobility. We recorded that, went back and watched it just to have a look at the guys, see if they were mobile, see if they were flexible. Because when it comes to a lot of the grappling, you could be the strongest guy in the world, but if you're not flexible, if you can't touch your shoulder, if you can't touch your toes, then that's going to mean you're going to have some pretty poor jiu-jitsu. So it's important to not only be strong, not only be fit, but to also be mobile and to be flexible. So we took them to Brad Roach, who let us have a look at that, see how flexible, see how mobile they were. After that, I took them for a little bit. Mark Timms, our striking coach at the Combat Academy, took them for a clinching session. That was tough. Started chucking them around, started yelling, and then the coup de grace, we handed them off to my old coach, Carl Weber, and he put them through an absolute grind. He took them for about an hour and a half, splitting them into groups. It was a mix of wrestling and pad work, and he had groups of 5, one guy on the ground in the mount position, escaping, next guy escaping, next guy escaping, just to push these guys. And he's going around and he's motivating them, and he wants the best out of them. And he stopped everyone for a second, and he's telling them, we don't want you to see you sandbagging. We don't want to see you save anything for what's coming next. We want to see you get exhausted, and what happens then? Because it's what happens when you get exhausted. What happens when you are tired? Are you going to belly down and quit, or are you going to continue to push, continue to dig deep? So we really got to see that. We really got to push these boys to the absolute limit. And so after my first tryout, I gave away 2 mentorships. So 2. This was such a talented pool of guys that showed up on this day. They were on a completely different level to the first one. The level of preparation that everyone came in, they know what to expect when they show up to the Hangman Mentorship. So, without further ado, I'll announce the 4 winners this season of the Hangman Mentorship. Jack McLean. This is one of my top picks. So Jack McLean, he did my first trial as well, and he was very close to coming down. It came down to him and another fighter, and we were going back and forth. Who are we gonna pick? We went with another fighter. Jack missed out on the first tryout it was razor close. It was razor close that Jack missed out. But he came back this year. He dug deep. He pushed hard, and he really impressed me on the day. With his level of improvement from the first tryout to this tryout has been immeasurable. He improved so much in such a small amount of time. So I'm very happy to announce Jack McLean is one of the winners. Thomas Campbell. Now, this is a name that I didn't know before this tryout date, but he showed up and he was a gun. He was a gun. This boy came out of nowhere, and he really impressed me. Impressed me on the run. He impressed me with his consistency throughout the day. He stood out head and shoulders as one of the most physically capable guys that showed up there. So Thomas Campbell's a winner. Trent Turner, he's another boy, very talented kid, and I think I can do some pretty amazing things with him. And our final winner, so our 4th winner, Levi Hawks. Now, Levi, he's already an amateur champion. He fights for Shuriken. He's the Shuriken amateur bantamweight champion. So I'm very excited for these 4 guys: Jack McLean, Thomas Campbell, Trent Turner, and Levi Hawks. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to you being in my gym and guiding your careers. I'll be in touch very soon. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Lance. Time to get into our Twitter questions. Now, I've only just put this up, so it's been unfiltered. We're getting it unfiltered this week. Here we go. I don't know who that is. Yeah, I should filter this, eh? I'm like scrolling past like 5. Will you listen to our podcast? I may. What's on the horizon for yourself? Who's on the radar locally? And what should we be watching? That's a great question. What's on the radar locally? So this week, there's actually 2 very good shows. So Friday night is King of the Ring. It's the 8-man tournament. King of the Ring, North Shore Event Center, I believe. Incredible show. I have 1 fighter in that, yes and yes. And this will be my first fighter that's actually in the 8-man tournament. So I've coached at, usually I'm commentating at King of the Ring. But twice now I've had fighters compete in the King of the Ring in super fights, but this will be my first year, or this will be my first time with a fighter actually in the 8-man. So I'm very excited to be there behind the scenes, coaching yes and yes into that fight. And it's a tall task to win the lightweight, which 61 kilo King of the Ring title, the defending champion, Nakora Likingi. Dominic Reed's in it as well. So there's 2 South Island boys. I think Nakora's the first South Island winner for the King of the Ring. So he'll be a tough man to knock off his perch. And I'm looking forward to an exciting night there. And the Saturday, there's the Shuriken Fight Series. So there's professional fights on that night. I believe there's a bantamweight fight. And in the main event, Cam Ralston from City Kickboxing is in the main event against Eli from King's Academy. So that's going to be an incredible fight to watch. So big shows coming up. There'll be plenty to talk about on the show next week about what's going on in the local scene. King of the Ring, Friday night. Shuriken Fight Series, Saturday night. Can't wait. Big nights. I'll be at both shows. And so should you, or at least watching at home. Are you down to fight Oliveira? Mate, I'll answer this a million times. Am I down? Yes, I'll fight Charles Oliveira. She still hasn't given me my video. I said, make me a video saying, Dan Hooker, I want to fight you. Where's my video? Where's my video? Space Jam on VHS, great name. How do you see Fajita versus Dober playing out? Keep up the good work. Drew Dober, that's my guy. I'm a Drew Dober fan. I train with Drew in Elevation Fight Team. Drew Dober's my guy. He's going to smash Fajita. Can't wait to see him get an opportunity at a top 10 fighter. I think Fajita's, what's he rank? 8th or 9th. Dober will be cracking the top 10 after that, 100%. Can't wait. Sean 801-65470. Great name. Would an Izzy title fight be in New Zealand? Or would an Izzy title fight in New Zealand be at Vector? Or would people push for Forsyth Bar? I think it would have to be at Forsyth Bar. I think it has to be at Forsyth Bar Stadium in Dunedin. That's the only venue big enough to justify a pay-per-view. That can fit, 30,000 people in it? And I think we could get the job done there. Ooh, Duke Friday 11. Why do you prefer the power guillotine as opposed to the traditional grip? I think it's harder to defend. It's harder to fight the power guillotine because you can't attack the hands, and especially when you're wearing gloves. I usually go. I can just do like a 10-finger guillotine, or I'll attack the neck with the guillotine if I'm not wearing gloves. But it makes it a little bit harder with the gloves and the hand wraps on. There's a bit more resistance, so I prefer the power guillotine for MMA. But if I'm fighting no gi or in some jiu-jitsu, then I will vary my guillotine a lot more. But it's just too easy to defend with the gloves and hand wraps on. Quarantine Jose Chalupa. What the fuck was Costa thinking? He was fucking around too damn much. I agree, Jose Chalupa. I do agree with that. Taunting your way to a world title strikes me as a shit game plan. Dan Hooker's chin, great name. Who is your favorite fighter to watch in the UFC outside of the CKB boys? Alexander Gustafsson would be one of them. Tim Means, the Dirty Bird. That's one of my very favorite fighters to watch. Southpaw striker. Whoo! The Dirty Bird gets me going. Jorge Masvidal. Corey Sandhagen. That's another one of my guys. He has some of the best footwork and some of the most well-rounded striking for MMA. Yeah, that was a weird. Foley Dub, why do you think an elite former fighter like Conor McGregor would call out an aging, out of the game Diego Sanchez? I don't know. That is a very strange call out to me that he keeps bringing up, saying he wants to fight Diego Sanchez. Angus Judd's on. Few questions here. 1, 2, 3. He's got himself 4 questions. Will we see your daughter in the UFC in a few years' time? 100% no chance whatsoever she will ever compete in a combat sports event. She's going to play tennis. She's going to win a world title at tennis and make me a very rich man. I could not watch her fight. Imagine her fighting. She gets hit once. I jump over the ropes and beat up some little girl. That would never happen. She will never compete. This sport is for idiots. Ooh. It's a tweet from an account you muted. Now I want to see you. It's actually a legit question. I thought he was going to troll me. I can't even read that name. Guri Kacha Chelsea. How long did it take you until you became completely comfortable with letting your hands go and feel confident with it? I don't know what that means, letting your hands go. Like throwing punches wildly? Letting your hands go. Well, I'm going to read a little bit into your question. Until I found comfortable, like I knew what I was doing, took me like 15 fights before I was like, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable that I have a plan and I might be able to implement it. 15 fights before that came into effect. So it's a very long time. I have people who have like 2 or 3 fights. Like how long until I get it? Or how long until it clicks? Ages. It takes a very long time. What's the Izzy nipple thing? Jacob knee something. Izzy nipple. Weight cuts. Missing weight. What? People saying, how can they go from he's on steroids? It's like they were saying one of his nipples is on steroids. That's very strange. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I've got an apology. Yeah. I'm gonna finish with an apology. I have to apologize. Where is it? So I need to apologize to Henry Cejudo because I think I took it too far. I took it too far with Henry Cejudo. So Cejudo put up a picture of him with Paulo Costa, and then there was 4 koalas, and he had photoshopped like at the CKB boys like me, Kai, Volkanovski, and Israel on like the faces of the koalas. And he said, nothing to see here, just 2 champs, 3 belts, and 4 harmless koalas. And I said, I see Lord Farquhar and Ricky Martin about to drop the hottest mixtape of 2020. Everyone laughed, lots of likes. Then he commented back to me, he said, Dan Hangman, how much gold have you got? And then I think I took it too far with my response to this because he deleted my comment like very quickly. So I need to apologize. I said, you should melt down all of your gold and try to buy your girlfriend back after she left your little ass, hombre. That's what I come. So putting my hands up, Henry Cejudo, I apologize. I took it too far. I didn't know. I thought we were having a bit of banter. I may have taken it too far. That one went a little bit over your head, so you missed that. You missed that one, but it's all right. You know, you got the short end of the stick, bud. So I apologize, brother. That's a good way to wrap up the show. Thanks you. I'm sorry, Henry. I apologize. Wait till I see you in person. I'll apologize. I'll apologize face to face. How about that?